Crossroads Football Live is presented by Victory Auto Group with Sports Director Max Williams and Weekend Sports Anchor Ray Robinson. Sponsored by Adson Offers Velocity Power Sports, Palace Bingo, and Frost Bank. Crossroads Football Live starts now.
Everyone, welcome back here to week 6 here of Crossroads Football Live, and we are officially halfway through the high school football season, and tonight we have big time games and district clashes that we're going to look at. Some teams finishing up their last week of non-district play, but our first game of the week takes us out there to Bloomington, where the Flatonia Bulldogs, after losing to Ganado last week 46-0, they face a Bloomington team with a bunch of confidence after beating Danbury on the road there 37-16. And for Bloomington, this is a team that's got a lot of confidence. Now, for Flatonia, though, they got a little offense to start off first, but Bloomington, they had their defense working. I mean, last week they did give up 16 points, but again, this team's actually become a better defensive-sided team for Bloomington as of late. As you see the band getting excited here for the Bloomington side, but Flatonia gets a big-time run out there to get a big-time play. They get inside the red zone, but guess what? There would be nothing that would cost off after that play because, again, this was a very defensive battle here in this contest, and Bloomington tried to do something here on this run outside for Amari Gardner, but again, look at this swarm of their Bulldogs getting out there. What a nice open field tackle there, Flatonia. And this game would, like I mentioned, be a very, very low-scoring game, but Flatonia would pull away, winning this one 10-6 there over Bloomington. For Bloomington, they are now officially 1-1 in district, and they're going to be going out next week. They're going to travel to Kennedy. Now for, again, tonight's big-time player of the game that we talked about was Amari Gardner. He still found a way to get the rushing touchdowns and made some plays. And after the game, we did not have a chance there to talk about there to Amari Gardner, but he was a big-time player to watch out for the rest of the way there for Bloomington. So, after Bloomington's game rise, a low-scoring game in contest, we now turn our attention now to District 15-3, Division 1, where the Flashes Sharks and Travis Hoffer are 1-3 overall. They faced out Kevin Salazar and the Goliad Tigers at 3-1. What a start. How about 2 weeks ago, we talked to Donovan Perry. Well, this time he's getting some touchdowns. How about this? Untouched there into the end zone, and Goliad strikes first there for the Tigers. Now for Flashes, this is a team that is trying to find an offensive identity, and guess what? What a big-time play from quarterback Alex Weaver. What a pass for a dart for the end zone there for Palacios. And guess what? They put this game right back on notice here for the Sharks. But again, what Goliad does so well is they use their receivers as running backs for speed. Lamont Franklin, this is what he's done all year. Gets inside there. They called that, ruling it a touchdown right there on the goal line. So big-time play there for Lamont Franklin. How about Palacios, though? Alex Weaver says, I'm going to take it myself, though, and get into the end zone. But guess what? Those two scores we just showed you there for Palacios, those would be the only scores they would score in the game because Goliad would win this contest there 31-14. Officially for Goliad, they are actually going to now be undefeated the rest of the way. For Palacios, they're trying to figure out their identity because they travel out to Orange Grove next week, while Goliad, they get to host the London Pirates for back-to-back home games. And homecoming was actually tonight, though, there for Goliad, so they also got the win there as well. Now, we talked about Donovan Perry in this contest, and he showed out tonight. We had a chance to talk to them after the game about what was kind of the success they needed to get the victory.
Was blocking their butts off. They were making big holes, and I was just reading and exploding through the gaps. We just came out, fumbled on the one, touchback, shot ourselves in the foot, and we really just got in at halftime, and we just stressed that we need to quit shooting ourselves in the foot and get back on track and play how we know how to play.
Now Donovan Perry, and again for Goliad, they're going to be trying to keep that identity because later on we're going to highlight how the Edna game went. And right now, currently in that district right now, Goliad is in firm control there of the district, and I believe right now they will be probably the team, as of right now, to be the team to beat there in District 15, 3A Division 1. Now Ganado, they're trying to get out to 2-0 there in district play against Kennedy Lions tonight, and guess what? High-scoring affair, but guess what? Ganado would get the victory, 33-27, officially go to 2-0 overall. Logan Burse there, the running back there for Ganado, got 2 touchdown runs tonight. Landon Arriaga had a touchdown pass to help out the Ganado Indians. They travel out to Weimer there next week. And stay with us here on Crossroads Football Live as we're going to take a look at Edna, Yoakum, and Victoria West, how they fare all the way out in Kerrville Tivy. That's all coming up next on Crossroads Football Live.
We're the Bloomington Bobcats, and you're watching Crossroads Football Live.
This portion of Crossroads Football Live is brought to you by Victory Auto Group, where the customer always wins.
All right, everyone, welcome back here to Crossroads Football Live. And again, now we're going to talk about the Yoakum Bulldogs, as they had a chance to travel out to Blanco to face the Blanco Panthers in this conference. And Yoakum is a team that's kind of been an underrated squad here this season. Now for Blanco, though, this is a team that's very run-first offense. And you can tell right here, it's a nice little kickoff. And yes, well, he was just untouched. I mean, I couldn't even notice anyone touch him there for Yoakum. And again, this was a high-scoring, looked like there for Yoakum. Blanco tried to get a couple of points to get in. Here comes the extra point on that play. And again, for Blanco, this is a team that's, again, underrated squad. They're trying to find their way. For Yoakum, though, guess what? I love this German Robinson. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks. He's an underrated player to watch. How about the running back there, getting it in the end zone for Yoakum? And again, you could already tell it was 49-21. Wasn't really close here in this contest, and it was 56 there at the end of the day to 21 was the final score there for the Yoakum Bulldogs. And Yoakum, to me, is one of those teams that's just underrated, hiding under the radar. And I believe right now this could be an early take. They could upend Columbus right now in that district right now. But they're going to begin district play. They're starting up there next week. They're going to be at Hempstead, which is, again, a team they, I believe, can beat there next week. How about for Edna? They're trying to get back on track there against Aransas Pass there tonight. And guess what? They officially moved to 2-3 overall, 1-1 in district with a 56-2 victory over the Aransas Pass Panthers out there in the Corpus area. And officially, they're going to be traveling back out there to Corpus, out to Mathis there next week. And probably the game that we're looking at the most out in the 5A ranks was the first true test there. Victoria West Warriors happened here tonight on the road versus the Kerrville Tivy Antlers. And this game started, again, very emotional start off, obviously, with all the floods happening. They did something earlier in the game for both of these teams. And again, that kind of just fueled the way going the rest of the way between both of these teams, because again, for Kerrville Tivy, very high explosive offense. Victoria West, a very high explosive offense. It starts right here. Quarterback there, Terry Rose, finds the end zone there for the Antlers, and again, they get the touchdown. At this point, it was already 24-21 West, pardon me. And guess what? They took the lead there 28-21. How about Nolan Boyce, though? He gives it off there to Andrew Henley. Got a touchdown there last week, and guess what? He gets another one there for Victoria West, and they take back the lead here in this contest. Again, 31-28. I mean, we're looking at a high-scoring affair there between both of these teams. And then Rose also made a couple of big-time plays as well there for Kerrville Tivy in this contest, because it turned out to be 59-56. I mean, wow. A high-scoring game here between both of these teams. And I mentioned this was the first true test there, Victoria West, and guess what? It showed out to be, but they pulled it away. They're officially still undefeated overall in their overall record and undefeated in district play. They have a huge test, though, next week versus Alamo Heights, probably the best team out there in the San Antonio area right now, out there at Memorial Stadium, there for Victoria West. Now, Victoria West didn't just win tonight. They also won this week's Band of the Week there for the Band of Warriors. For Victoria West, props up to their handbed director and David Burnett's assistant director, Sandra Lazowski, and then Waylon Johnson and Crystal Medina. And shout out also to the color guard director as well, and Haley Garza. And again, if you want to get your band to get submitted there to be recognized as our Band of the Week, go to crossroadstoday.com and follow. Just go to contest, and you can follow the prompt from there and submit it for the rest of the way. Now, stay with us here on Crossroads Football Live, because after the break, we're going to have a chance to talk to the Louise Hornets and see how they're doing on their bye week. That's coming up next on Crossroads Football Live.
This portion of Crossroads Football Live is brought to you by Palace Bingo. Have high school football without the beat of the marching bands. Crossroads Football Live is excited to spotlight talent in our local high schools with our Band of the Week segment. Every week, we'll pick one band to feature on Crossroads Football Live. Get your cameras and show us your band under the Friday night lights. Go to crossroadstoday.com/contest to nominate. Tune in to CFL every Friday night at 10:35 to see who's marching to the top.
Welcome back, everyone, here to Crossroads Football Live. And 2 weeks ago in our show, we caught up with the Goliad Tigers in studio. Well, tonight, we travel out east to talk about the Louise Hornets, who are on their bye week right now. And I have a chance to sit down here with Coach Cameron Murr, the quarterback Connor Gonzalez, defensive lineman Corey Taylor, and then offensive lineman George Flores. Guys, how are we feeling here on the bye week? Coach, just kind of walk me through, like, what's kind of the game plan so far for today, getting ready there for district next week?
Well, man, we've kind of healing up a little bit, number one. Number two is we're attacking the bye week with a lot of emphasis on being physical. I think that's still a thing that we're like hammering down within our program. That's a big thing for me. And so our coach has been doing a really good job of doing a lot of drills. We're doing a lot of Oklahoma Alley drills. Just let number one, having fun with it, but two, just standing on that principle, just being physical.
Yeah, so going over to you, Connor, right? I mean, obviously, you're one of the upperclassmen for this team, right? Coach just mentioned you guys have a lot of younger guys and everything. So, like, walk me through, like, how has it kind of been for you kind of, like, leading this kind of a young team different now with the new head coach right here with Coach Murrah, and, like, how has that been for you maybe this first couple games?
I feel like it hasn't been hard. I mean, it's easy kind of, because I feel like I lead by example. I don't really have to yell or anything. So, yeah.
Hey, fair enough. And like I said, at the quarterback spot, that's the most important. You know what I'm saying? If you can find a way to get the whole team, like I said, offensive line, especially lean down to the defensive side right there in Corey. I mean, he kind of, as Coach said, I mean, this is first time getting back in action here for football-wise and with it. So, like, walk me through, like, how's it been? You enjoying the sport basically overall? And, like, what are some things you've kind of learned on the defensive side bringing it over, you would say?
Well, yeah, I enjoyed a lot. Last year I didn't play. I played sophomore year, but I hardly got any playing time at all. So it's like new being like starting on defense, you know, always getting out there. But yes, I really enjoyed being back. You know, senior year, I wanted to, come out one last time, just give it my best. It's been really fun. I learned a lot with our defensive coach, Coach Vela. Shout out to him, I love him. And Coach Murrah, they just preached us just, fire off and just like stay low, just use your hands, and just from whistle to whistle, just 100%. It's been real great being back.
Absolutely, and I mean, obviously, again, important, right? Being the defensive side of the ball, you got to be able to lead there in the D-line. But now on the offensive side, or at offensive line, right, with you, George, I mean, obviously, you got a great quarterback to help out with, and Connor, right, to kind of protect his blind side, as you would say. But, like, walk me through, though, like, how's it kind of been on the offensive line side, or what are some things, you're trying to bring for this team going into district play, you'd say?
Offensive side of the ball, it's really fun. I enjoy it a lot, especially being the strong guard. I love to pull and getting just to hit someone, especially when they're not looking. It's even more fun.
Hey, man, I always say, if you're a pulling guard or whatever, you better watch out on the defensive line side because you never know what's going to happen. Now, that was part of our interview there with the Luis Horns, but if you want to see the full interview there for the show, just check out crossroadstoday.com/sports, or you can go to our website and our Crossroads Today YouTube page for the full interview. Now, back over to Flatonia versus Bloomington. The star of the game there was Amari Gardner. He stacked up all the rushing yards there for the Bloomington Bobcats, even though they got the loss. It was only fitting to make him our player of the game here for tonight. And 25 News Now Weekend sports anchor Ray Robinson was at their Bobcat Stadium to highlight the star of the game and what he thought about this tough loss and what they're going to take from it going the rest of the way.
Max, Week 6 game of the week just wrapped up a few moments ago, and it wasn't the outcome many of us folks at the Crossroads was looking for, as Bloomington fell to Flatonia. Final score 10-6. But I got one of the guys that helped lead the charge, Amari. How are we feeling? It wasn't the outcome we were looking for, but you guys still left it all out there on the field.
I feel like we just need to keep working, have everybody up there at the school on Monday to be ready to work. That's all we can do.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys went in the first half scoreless, 0-3, and then you guys just came back and you just led the charge, man. What was the talk in halftime, and what was the factor in keeping you guys' head above water?
Making sure everybody did their job. I mean, first half, there were certain times where we did do our job, but we didn't do it fully. We didn't execute fully like we all know we could.
Absolutely, and the final game of the play saw, just that little inch, and it could be a little controversial. We're definitely going to talk more about that as the week goes on. But, plays like that, can you just talk about how important there are and how it is important for you guys to, do what you're supposed to do so plays like that won't become crucial, especially in the final 2 minutes?
We just need to make sure it can't be a decision that's out of our hands. You know what I mean? We just need to make sure if we get a first down, it's obvious we got the first down.
Absolutely, and as you guys look for Kennedy, you guys are 1-1 in district play, so there's still plenty of room for you guys to, grab that playoff seed. So what are some things you're going to take away from tonight and prepare for Kennedy?
We make sure we don't have a first half like we did tonight. We can't let a team like Kennedy run up the score on us like that, or have a good offensive drive, many good offensive drives, and us not answer back.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to it. Thank you, Mark. Max, back to you.
All right, props up there to the Bloomington Bobcats. Even though they had a tough loss, I think this team will still find a way to get that last spot out there in their district. But stay with us here after the break. We're going to see how Industrial versus Tidehaven match up with. Also, Cuero heading out to the Rio Grande Valley, and the St. Joseph Flyers playing right here at Memorial Stadium. Now, all those scores and more coming up next on Crossroads Football Live.
This portion of Crossroads Football Live is brought to you by Frost Bank.
We're back here on Crossroads Football Live. We still have two of our current Friday Night 5 teams from last week that we're going to show highlights for. First, let's check out the Industrial Cobras, who are 0-4 coming off their bye week last week, traveling out to the #1 team from our Friday Night 5 ranking, the most dominant team, the Tidehaven Tigers. And Tidehaven starts off strong here. How about this? Getting off a couple tackles there for Tidehaven and gets there inside the 5-yard line for the Tigers. The very next play, though, Cale Russell, he's done this a lot this year, calls his own number, gets in the end zone for the Tigers and take back the lead. Now for Industrial, trying to make a big play, trying to get back in it, and guess what? A mistake you can never try to do. When you roll out, you got to be able to be consistent with that pass. Way off target there on that one, and then Tidehaven makes them pay. How about that? Getting into the end zone. Nice job there from number 9 there, TJ Galvin, getting it in the end zone. And a quick little pass out to the outside, make your man work, and gets into the end zone. You see kind of how this game kind of turned out here for Tidehaven, because the final score in this contest was 35-14. The Tigers get a big-time victory and stay undefeated overall in district and their overall record. And guess what? Industrial will host the Anfield Leopards next week in Week 7, while Tidehaven really good shape right now going into their bye week before they finish off district play there in 2 weeks. Now over to the Rio Grande Valley, where the #4 team in our Friday Night 5 rankings with the Cuero Gobblers face there the 6A school in the Harlingen Cardinals. And now for Cuero, how about this? Melo Perez, I said he was the underrated player there for Cuero this season. Guess what? He gets there untouched in there to the end zone for the Gobblers, and they would strike first here in this contest there for Cuero. And again, Cuero's got, again, a lot of weapons. It's Melo Perez, like we mentioned, Jordan Jones. You also got Walker Dietz. Now, we head over to this situation here. Cuero decides to do an onside kick here on this play. And guess what? Believe it or not, they get the recovery. How about that right there? That is Xavier Bonner that gets it, and then they would turn it around there to get a touchdown here on the exact same drive. Look at this right here, a little kind of misdirection type of play, and guess what? Gets into the end zone. Cuero finds it up, and they would get up 14-0 here in this contest for the Gobblers. And again, Walker Dietz had a good night, but it really wasn't all him here in this contest. But Harlingen, they trying to have to find a way to strike back, and here comes the running back here for the Cardinals, Noah Huerta, gets out there, gets a couple players out, and gets inside the red zone there on that one. But guess what? They would score in that drive because Harlingen had it, it kept it close, but Cuero just enough found a way to win their 35-27 over 6A school in Harlingen. They stay undefeated overall there for the Gobblers, and they travel now a little bit closer destination versus Rockport Fulton next week. Now over to the private school level, where we got another local team, the St. Joseph Flyers, hosted their homecoming game tonight versus Versati Christian. They're in the Falcons, and the Flyers currently 4-1 there this season. They want to keep the kind of their momentum there in district play here tonight. Again, especially against a team like Versati Catholic that has been very well. Jace Vasquez, the quarterback, throws it up there to Charlie Stefka, and Stefka there finds it there into the end zone there for the St. Joseph Flyers, and does a little pose out there to the camera there, right there, and then gets it inside. Big time score there for St. Joe to start off with. Now the Flyers, their defense stood up there as well. They got a 3 and out there on that drive, and it led to another play. How about just find your main guy again? Big time throw into the end zone. No one can touch them. And again, at this point, it was already 14-0. The defense made some plays. And again, the final score for the St. Joseph Flyers in this contest was 28-0, beating the Versati Catholic Falcons in this contest. So they officially are going 5-1 overall into their bye week. They're going to be back in action there on October 17th. There for the St. Joseph Flyers. And before we hit the break, let's check out Hallettsville Sacred Heart. Traveled out to St. Anthony Yellow Jackets there tonight, and they took care of business, winning 43-6, and they improved to 2-3 overall. They get to face Brazos Christian there next week. Now, everyone, don't go away, because after the break, we get to reveal this week's Friday Night 5 Power Rankings. Just going to let you know there is a couple of changes that I got here for tonight's show, so don't go anywhere.
St. Joseph High School senior cheerleaders, and you're watching Crossroads Football Live.
Crossroads Football Live is brought to you by Hudson offers Velocity Power Sports Outdoor Fun Store.
Welcome back here to Crossroads Football Live. Now, a quick reminder, we do have, again, one more game that we're going to look at here at the Victoria Gators. They travel out there to face Brownsville Jubilee Titans there tomorrow night. This game's going to start actually tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. The Gators currently 1-4 overall, and they're looking to turn the page here in this contest. Now it's time to reveal this week's Friday Night 5 Power Rankings. And we had a couple of changes there from last week's there from a couple weeks ago. But there's a couple of teams that remain the same, a couple teams that have made a change. So without further ado, let's start with our number 5 team here for this week here in week 6 for the Friday Night 5 Rankings. We're going to give it to the Yoakum Bulldogs. Yes, for Yoakum, this team is starting to be slowly and kind of just I'm liking how this team is getting going because for Yoakum, they got a great quarterback there in German Robinson that's making plays. Xavier Barnett, I still believe is still getting underrated as a 4-star commit that's going to SMU. He's still making big-time plays there for the Yoakum Bulldogs. But this team is also finding their defense to get. I thought this Blanco game was going to be more of a high-scoring affair between both of these teams. They only allowed there in that contest there 21 points, and that's very impressive there for Yoakum. I think this team, if they have a chance to compete up there with Hitchcock and Columbus, that's going to be huge for Yoakum. For Cuero, they still reign in my number 4 team overall in the Friday Night 5 rankings. They got a big-time win out there versus Harlingen. It's kind of a little bit rough on them last week. I thought they could a little bit more improve. But guess what? This team, I think, is going to find their stride. Walker Dietz, as we know, is one of their star players in the team at wide receiver spot. But also this team is, I think, also finding their identity, knowing they could score a lot of points on this squad. Big-time win there for Cuero, and they get to start district next week. How about, again, the Refugio Bobcats? We showed their score there for the 10 o'clock show, winning 74-0 over the Rivera-Cocker Seahawks. For Refugio, I still think this team is the team to beat out there in 2A over Ganado right now. I think their offense and defense is clicking, and we still got to keep an eye on Xander Wills, their running back, and also keep an eye there on Ray Lewis as well. So Refugio is my number 3 team right now for Refugio. Now number 2, West has moved up there to the number 2 spot. A big-time close victory over Kerrville Tivy, 59-56 for West. I think this team, if they can beat Alamo Heights, they could be right up there being the number 1 team. There's no team knows how to score points, but it's also, can their defense make enough plays, especially if it's a very talented Alamo Heights team we're going to see next week at Memorial Stadium. And finally, at number 1 is the Tidehaven Tigers. This team with Cale Russell, TJ Galvin, Bookie Galvin have made some big-time plays there for the Tigers, and also their defense is slowly but surely making some big-time plays as well for this squad as well. And I think for Tidehaven, for me, if they can keep that consistency, they're going to be on their bye week next week, and I think they're going to win their district and probably be a good seeding there going the rest of the way. Now, thank you everyone there to watch this episode of Crossroads Football Live. So props up to our sponsors, Victory Auto Group, Palace Bingo, Frost Bing, Velocity Power Sports. Thank you for joining us. If you need a score update or go that way, go to crossroadsday.com or download our app. Look for our podcast on tonight's game. We'll see you next week on Crossroads Football Live.